Action.
All right. Hi, hello. Um, our group has chosen problem one, challenge one, the homeowner. Our problem is an excess buildup of water. So I'm Vincent.
My name is Hengnan.
And I'm Damani.
All right. Our water intrusion is our problem. Its effects are mildew, mold on walls, standing, freezing water, cracked cement slabs. We're mainly going to focus on the foundation of the building, since water intrusion poses a great threat to longevity and the structural integrity of the building. I feel like that's the most effective choice of target we should focus on. In our next slide, Damani will go over some possible causes of water water damage.
So, yeah, based on what Vincent said, we have some possible issues that cause water intrusion. One is the interior insulation, which was built incorrectly. So basically, that means it like soaks and slowly seeps into the internal walls, as you can see in the pictures on the left side of the screen. The second is warm, humid air that's trapped, that's causing the walls to condense, and um, also the cracked brickwork, which allow the water to like basically like invade into the building material, so that causes the water to like go through, like specifically the ceiling and the walls, that's caused like the leak. And that could also be like possibly like leaky gutters being wrongly installed, broken, etc. That could be the cause, and also like the current like cooling that like attracts the water as well. So we have so this is like the process of repointing. These are the four processes, because repointing is basically like the process of pointing. So here are the four processes, which is one, examining the structure, two, establishing materials, three, removal of old mortar, and four, filling in the new mortar. I want to specifically talk about like the first and second. So, like I mentioned, repoint is a crucial process in masonry construction. It involves renewing the external part of the mortar joints between masonry units such as bricks. Over time, weathering and decay can create voids in these joints, allowing water to seep in, which cause damage and deterioration in the building's foundation. Um, Traditionally, lime and sand were used to create mortar. So, like in the 20th century, masons adopted Portland cement for its strength and rapid drying. But later on, masonry cement emerged, combining Portland's cement with limestone. But before like any work begins, building owners need to like take into account the masonry units, mortar, and original construction techniques. So identifying the root problems and cause of deterioration, which is like really crucial in consulting like architectural historians. And so matching the original mortar. So basically, like the new mortar, it should basically closely match with the original mortar based on like color, texture, and composition, which helps maintain the historical and visual integrity of the structure. So in that case, we have five types, which is type N, type O, type S, type N, and type K. And I'm gonna let Hennam explain like which types are like more effective.
So when considering the material for repointing, out of the five that Damani listed, typically we would pick type N, the type N mortar, and it's usually recommended for exterior and above grade walls that are exposed to severe weather and high heat. And type N mortars, the mix has a medium compressive strength and is composed of 1 part Portland cement, 1 part lime, and 6 part sand. So it's like the preferred mortar mix for soft stone masonry, and it's also one of the most often used uh, types by homeowners, and it's one of the best choices for just general application. And so for step three, removal of the old mortar, um, it's most effective when it's done by hand so that we avoid damage to the structure. And when filling in the new mortar, we want to make sure that the color match and that cleaning methods are applied. So if the color um, isn't doesn't match, we can use like low pressure water jets instead of like chemicals, which can harm the masonry. And we typically want to avoid staining the new mortar as it can potentially bring harm. And repointing kind of gives the buildings new life, and it preserves historical value and structural integrity, and it ensures that past remains are firmly connected to the present. And yeah.
All right, fixing the slab. The slab is a problem. It's located above above ground, so you'll want to remove it, or the moisture will seep. It's like when it rains, moisture will seep through the ground into the foundation. Ideally, you want a barrier of gravel or sand on top of the dirt to help keep the concrete dry and allow water to drain. This will prevent plants from growing, like the one in the picture. Um, you want to level the sediment when you pour the bag of concrete mix. I went to Home Depot and they said Quikrete is best, but any bags, um, either Quikrete or Sucrete, they should all work fine. You mix in not too much water, or just a it'll become too mixed with the powder, and it'll just be the large rocks remaining. So you just want just enough water to activate the dry ingredients. For the edges, you should add support. So in case like wind or rain, you want to support the shape of it. Then you should smooth out the mix, avoid air bubbles. Make sure there's a slight slope for drainage also. Um, I'll talk more about that later. But for a slab, for a thin slab like this, reinforcements like rebar or mesh you could put into the concrete. I don't think it's needed. It's recommended, but for more tensile strength of the concrete, but it's not needed that much. I'll go on to our next issue, which is the windows. Fixing the windows. Ventilation is important to keep warm, humid air that your house produces out. Um, your windows should be open, but if you're afraid of like critters, bugs, animals, dry leaves, rain, snow from getting in, you should put a window mesh. I recommend the polyester uh, instead of the Pfeiffer 1814. It's more expensive, but it's better than the standard. It can last at least 10 years. It has superior tear strength, tensile strength, and I've I've seen many of them also come with a layer of coating that resists mildew and also that resists algae growth. Next, please. So this is where the slope that you made during your slab comes in. I suggest a channel for the drainage of water. You can build it alongside your garage or alongside your side of the house into a drain on the street. This I do recommend a proper contractor to be called because I'm not unless you're very experienced with construction, you'll need like very specific tools for the angles. There were no real irrigation or drainage that I saw in the given photos. So when it rains, the water will stay and it will just seep into the concrete. So uh, this, this drainage channel is helpful for moving the water out. And that's it.
A quick disclaimer: we are not professionals. We did some like simple research, but it's always better if you can get professional advice from like an engineer. And even then, it's good that you to get like a second or third opinion before you do anything that could potentially damage your house. Thank you.
Thank you.